I want to ask how you think Citigroup got into this mess, as so many banks did, as the whole country did. But here's one framing of this question from a listener who writes, I would like to know when Mr. Parsons explained the banks extended credit to people who really shouldn't have had as much credit, why weren't they looked at to see this? In essence, why did the banks put themselves in that position and basically set themselves up for this fallout in case a situation like this would arise?
Right. It is a very good question. It is the most fundamental question you can ask in these circumstances. What happened to all these banks? What happened to all these smart people? It's not just Citi. It's virtually all the major banks around the world. What happened? And I think a couple of things. Number one, you have two elements in play here. One is sort of a new technology. Anytime there's something new that the market hasn't seen before, people tend to get overexcited about it and to hype it beyond reason, looked at from a retrospective point of view. So, for example, we had the tech bubble burst at the beginning of this decade because everybody thought, oh, this new internet technology, all the trees are going to grow to the sky, it's going to be great.
So this was the securitization
bubble?
And
this was the securitization bubble. People did not understand the way they thought they did. They didn't understand this new sort of financial engineering technology, and they assumed, they made an assumption that it was going to spread risk in a way that made it disappear, and it didn't. Right?
Mass delusion in the financial world?
To some extent, not just the financial world, but investors, regulators, and ordinary consumers. Everybody thought that this was great, that cheap money could last forever, and that somehow we've engineered a way to engineer the risk out. That's number one. Number two is human behavior. When things are going good, everybody just assumes they're going to continue to go good. So you can make a loan against a house to a somewhat shakier credit because you know the house is going to appreciate in value, right, and take you out of what may have been a bad loan decision. Well, guess what?
That's human psychology. What about human values? Recklessness and greed? We'll have a guest later in the show, Nick Baumgarten from The New Yorker, who says you got to come back to greed and hubris when you look at the roots.
No, I think you have to come back to the nature of man. Greed and hubris are part of it. Enthusiasm is a part of it. Optimism is a part of it. A genuine desire to spread the wealth is a part of it. I mentioned the government earlier. One of the reasons that lending standards became as loose as they did was because the government was saying, hey, the good times are rolling. Let's let everybody be a part of the American dream. So you can identify any of those human characteristics and sort of say this one's more important than the rest. In my own view, it's the human condition.
Anything else? Stay with me on this. Do we need to change as a country, as a culture, change our relationship to debt or material goods or how much influence Wall Street has over Congress?
All right. Well, now you're going to get a personal view. It's a personal view, not necessarily a city view. I think a little bit of return to sort of old-fashioned values of being able to defer gratification, being not living beyond your means, not simply because someone will lend you the money, not borrowing it and buying something else that maybe you don't need. A little bit of return to old-fashioned values would probably call for, and I think that'll happen. They call it a correction for a reason. I think that's what we're in.
Listener asks, does Citigroup have a plan to find and invest in alternative industries such as green energy and hyper-efficient manufacturing? Excuse me. We need these new industries as a base for a new economy.
Absolutely. I agree with the premise of the question, and the answer to the question is absolutely. I think that this is, again, one of the things the administration is trying to drive, and one of the things that we are focused on in terms of where are the new opportunities to invest through the extension of credit that are going to help drive the economy, help create jobs.
Is there another trap in there, though? President Obama and others want you to invest in things that seem good for our future, like green energy, but maybe those aren't going to be the most profitable investments. Maybe those are the riskiest investments.
Well, we talked about risk a minute ago in terms of people believing that somehow we could engineer away the risk. The reason that the government needs the banks and the reason that the banks need to be on the same page as the government is because our job is to evaluate risk, to assess risk, and to make intelligent credit decisions. But those intelligent credit decisions have to be made in a larger context. We need to be a part of helping restabilize, and then grow the job base in this company. Because if we don't grow jobs, at the end of the day, people aren't going to be able to take mortgages, not going to be able to pay their credit cards, and we're not going to be able to extend credit. So it's, we're part of the solution here.